Hey everyone, Owls Everywhere here for one last School of Dragons video. So last week was about just doing things in School of Dragons that I didn't get to do when the game hadn't been about to shut down. But this video will just be about, well, saying goodbye to my dragons and to this game. I may have only been playing this game for a few months, but I've definitely grown really attached to it, and the dragons that I'd managed to collect up until now. So, without further ado, let's get on with the video. Now, the first dragon that I'm going to say goodbye to is the Light Fury. Now, I haven't really gotten that long to really get that attached to the Light Fury, but I always thought that these dragons looked really stunning. I always thought that they looked rather sleek and beautiful, and I always thought they looked really nice. Even if I didn't get this long to spend with the Light Fury as I could have, I still am glad to have gotten the chance to be able to fly her and be able to spend time with her, even if it is going to be rather short-lived. Next is Toothless. I'd always loved this dragon from both the movies and the series, and I always thought he was really interesting. It's nice to be able to ride him, at least now, even if, just like the Light Fury, it's going to be a bit short-lived. But, you know, it's nice that we get the time to do this and that the devs were kind enough to give us this chance. While I feel like I know him a bit better from the shows than the Toothless in this game, even though technically they're the same character. I am really grateful to be able to fly Toothless now, and to get the chance to do that, even if I won't be able to do so for long. And now Rough Runner. I always loved how they'd given him this little bit of personality in his baby form. I really do like that. It's really cute. Even if he does seem to just suddenly become the most alert dragon in the world whenever you're flying him or riding him. Even though Rough Runner was never even though Rough Runner was never really my favorite Nightlight, I still thought he was pretty cool. And I'm glad that I get the chance to ride him around now, even if, as I mentioned, it's a bit short-lived. I also like Rough Runner's adult form, as with the other Nightlights. I really think that the devs did a really nice job with these. And Rough Runner's Hidden World Glow as an adult is definitely one of my favorites that I've seen. Just looks really nice and pleasing to the eyes, with the different blues and the speckles and the stripes. Next up is Pouncer. Now, I always thought Pouncer was kind of interesting, I guess, especially when I was doing the Age of the Nightlights questline. I thought it was kind of funny how, Dart and Rough Runner were you know, like the leader and the defender. Meanwhile, Pouncer was the the one that wanted to flashbang everyone, which was kind of funny. Pouncer is a literal glow stick in the hidden world. Like, he glows very brightly. Funny thing is that I actually originally thought Pouncer was a girl when I first saw like the pictures of the nightlights, but like I learned all their genders and stuff, so now I know that Pouncer's a dude. Now I do really like, as I'd mentioned, like all of the nightlights adult forms. I think they look really nice, especially the animations and the texturing. It looks really smooth, unlike some of the dragons, which seem rather janky. But the devs really did a nice job with the nightlights and Toothless. Pouncer's hidden world glow is not as blinding as his baby forms, which is rather nice. I'd always loved the way that dragons tend to glow in the hidden world. I remember being so amazed by it when I'd first come across it in like in the first episode. Now for darts. I'd mentioned this a number of times before, but Dart has always been my favorite of the nightlights. I always thought she was really nice and cute. Like, just look at her feet. They have socks. She has socks on her feet. And like, there's the little dot on her nose that's also really cute. I love how they let us ride the nightlights around even as like babies like this. I'm guessing it's because there had been like such a long period where there hadn't even been their adult forms, so they just let you ride the babies around, like in How to Train Your Dragon 2, where they were riding all the baby Scuttleclaws. I like how Dart's hidden world glow is so vibrant though, and like how like she seems to be more of like a mix between that and the nightlight, I mean the Night Fury and the Light Fury than her siblings do. Like, Pouncer is leaning more towards like looking like a Light Fury, and then Rough Runner is leaning more towards his Night Fury side. Meanwhile, Dart is kinda almost half and half. And while the black is still like dominant, she does have like a lot of prominent white on her. And Dart's adult form is absolutely stunning. I love how proud they make her look in these, like in everything, like with the icon for her, like in the Dragons menu, as well as like her signature move in Dragon Tactics. It's all very cute how she's just like the leader of the group, kinda. And I think that she looks really amazing. While Dart's hidden world glow isn't as cool as Rough Runner's, I do still really like it. It's still pretty vibrant and contrasts nicely with her coloring. I'll always love flying around in the hidden world with how pretty everything is. And I sure am going to miss this. Sure am going to miss being able to do this. And then there's Drippy. I haven't really gotten to see like a Sliquifier in-game before I'd hatched you. I hadn't even heard of a Sliquifier before School of Dragons, and you know, I doubt we'd be able to see Sliquifiers anywhere else. You really are an interesting looking dragon. You remind me of Leviathan. And even though our time together is short, I'm glad that we are able to spend this time together. Now, even if you seem to be one of the more forgettable dragons in this game, your hidden world glow is really nice. It does look really cool. Sliquifiers, in my opinion, are, like, while they don't seem to have the most to them, they are kind of underrated. Like, I believe Sliquifiers deserve a bit more appreciation. They're really cool. And now for Trumpet. Even though you don't really look that much like the Hobble Grunt in the second movie, I still think you look really cool. You are a very long dragon, and you know, it's nice to be able to get to know you now, even if it won't be for very long. I remember when I'd first hatched you and the rest of the clutch. It was an exciting day. I hadn't really... Like, I'd only had Euphoria and Double in Trouble before I'd hatched the four of you. So I'm glad that we at least get to keep these memories with us. Now, Sneck. Whispering Deaths had always been one of those dragons that really intrigued me. The way that they tend to just burrow under the ground and then come up and ambush people and dragons. I always thought that was cool. And I was really excited to get your egg, even if it had just been a random occurrence from a chest. It's nice to have been able to get you and to be able to hatch you. Even when we're not together anymore, you will always be my little emo dragon. And I'll always remember you for that. This game really had a way of leaving its mark on me. Even if I'm like still a relatively new player compared to most of the player base, I did really end up enjoying this game, and it has ended up being one of my very favorites to play. Sad to see it getting shut down after I'd only been able to spend a few months really being able to enjoy it. Now, Poseidon. I always thought Thunder Drums were rather interesting dragons, with their big mouths and wide bodies and just flatness. I always thought you were a bit of a derpy looking dragon, while also being rather cool. I remember being so excited when I'd gotten your egg, just like with Sneck. It had just been from like a random chest that I'd been opening. I really wish I'd hatched you sooner so that I could get to, well, ride you around and figure out how to do battle events with you and be able to practice. I feel like you could have done amazing at battle events if I'd only let you experience them more. I remember having come up with your name, Poseidon. You know, the god of water. Because I thought, you know, you'd be a title class that would... I don't know, I'm being silly, but I thought that maybe you'd be legendary one day. And people would know you. Maybe one day people will, you know, look back at my School of Dragons videos as fond memories. I wonder if I'll get comments later. Like, I wonder if I'll get comments years later of people saying that I'd been a part of their childhood. And now for Diamond. I remember being so excited when I'd first come across the code that I got your egg from. I remember thinking, oh, I'm gonna hide this for everyone and then surprise them with it in a later video. And in a way, that's kind of what I managed to do. But it's really nice to be able to fly you now. I really like how smooth your flapping animation is. It's really nice. I'd always loved the Reptidons. I always thought they were these really cool dragons. And while they were rather chunky, they also were majestic, and I liked the Reptidon's lore when it had been introduced in Race to the Edge, how it protected an entire island by eating the lava from an active volcano. And like, as I mentioned before, I always thought like these dragons were really amazing and majestic. I'm glad that I'm able to fly one now. And now for Ode. I'd always thought that song wings looked really beautiful and majestic, even if they had been from that kids show. I just thought they looked really pretty. And the song that the two of them had sang at the end of that movie was also pretty. It's just a really beautiful song. I'm glad that I'm able to ride a songwing now, even if it is rather short-lived. You are such a beautiful dragon. And I don't think I'll be able to forget any of you, any of these dragons. They're just so magnificent, such magnificent beasts. And I really love dragons as a whole. They're just really pretty and really amazing. And now for Crowbrain. Now, even though it had been a bit of a last-minute decision to get you and raise you, it is something that I do not regret. I don't regret hatching you. You are a really interesting dragon, and I wish I'd gotten more time to get to know you. Even though our time together is short, I don't think I can really forget you. I didn't really get to know much about you're kind or what you are, but it's part of that makes you so interesting to me. The fact that you're a bit of a mystery that I barely know anything about. All I know is that your egg had appeared in the shops when I was looking at the sales after it was announced that this game would be shutting down. Even though I don't really know like what you are, what you're made of, you're still an amazing dragon, and while I wish I could have been able to know you for longer, I'm glad to have been able to get to know you now. Now for Hognose. I remember being so amazed when I first saw you in game. I thought you looked really nice. And even now I still think you kind of look like a snake with legs. And I think that's really cool. I do love snakes and snake-like dragons. I remember working so hard to get your egg before the ThawFest event ended, and while it was pretty tiring to do, I don't regret having gotten you. You really are an amazing dragon. Even though our time together has been short, I'm really glad that I've gotten to ride you. I'm really glad that I've gotten to be able to spend this time with you, even though I won't be able to spend much longer. I'm glad to be able to know what it's like to have you as a dragon. And now for Hurricane. I'm really glad that we got the chance to ride around on a Light Fury that's our own instead of just like the membership Light Fury. Because it's nice to be able to customize Light Furies and be able to ride them as if they were really your dragon and not someone else's, or and not like a dragon that doesn't belong to you. I like how we're able to have this a dragon that really feels like ours, that we're able to customize and grow. I do like how they didn't completely just copy and paste the Nightlight model for the generic Light Fury. I like how they did add some things that sets them apart from the Nightlights. For instance, the rounded wings and the tail, as well as the back part being solid instead of spikes. I know the devs had wanted to introduce these generic Light Furies with the prospect of exploring the idea of the hidden world being absolutely full of Light Furies, and I feel like that would be a pretty probable idea, considering that there were at least 4 that at least 3 to 4 that we'd known to have existed. And just because Night Furies were in danger doesn't mean that the Light Furies were as well. We didn't really have any evidence that there were that there were also just a very small amount of Light Furies. So I like to think that a lot of these Light Furies just never left the hidden world. Perhaps their natural food source along the fish is something that can only be found down here, which is why they never saw Light Fury before the 3rd movie. I wish we'd gotten a series that was in between How to Train Your Dragon 2 and 3, like how there had been 3 entire series that had been in between the first and second movie, because like they could have foreshadowed like Grimmel's appearance and the existence of light furies, and you know, have them be hinted at before the actual movie. Because like from How to Train Your Dragon 1 to 2, like there was like a lot of like in-between stuff that had us kind of like was able to ease us into what happened in the second movie, while like from How to Train Your Dragon 2 to 3, there was like nothing in between them, so like we kind of just got like, so we're kind of just jumping from like the second movie to the third movie. I feel like if we I feel like it would have been really cool if we did get an in-between series for How to Train Your Dragon 2 and 3, maybe like where we could see more of Toothless's alpha form, because I always thought that was really cool. Because like, even though like it's really interesting, like we didn't really get to see it on screen for that long. Only getting to see it at the end of like How to Train Your Dragon 2, and only being able to see it for like a few moments in the third movie. I feel like we should have gotten more of that. And now for Scholar. Even though the customization for the generic light fairies was rather limited, it was nice to have a pretty purple light fairy like this one. Even if like you can't really see the purple detailing that well besides the eyes, I still like how she turned out. The light fairies in the Hidden World are just stunning. They're really nice. I like the kind of blue that their glow takes on. Like, it's similar to the Light Fury, like the membership one, but not quite. And it's also like more tealish than the bluish that the Light Fury has. So I think it's really nice. And now for Tempest. So Tempest is definitely the light fairy that I'd gotten to spend the most time with, the one that I'd definitely gotten the most attached to out of the 3. I'd wanted to be able to make you a bit of a darker gray, like a storm, so that the yellow on you would stick out, but I still do like how you turned out. I think you look really nice. I remember first being able to fly around on you in the Age of the Nightlights quest. It was really fun getting to be able to grow you up with the rest of the Nightlights, instead of like just growing you up and then flying you around a bit. It is nice to be able to fly on you now. We're able to, since we're able to just like have our own light fairies instead of like just the one that we get from membership. Like these dragons, they truly feel like they're our dragons and not and they feel like dragons that just belong with us, you know? One thing I do really like about the Light Fury's glow is that, like, you know how the Light Fury, like, especially in the movies, she has like a heart shape of scales on her forehead? The Light Fury's glow, I'm not quite I can't remember if the Light Fury also has this, like the movie Light Fury, but they have like, but their glow has like a heart on its forehead as well, which is really cute. I remember seeing your glow for the first time here when we were doing the Age of the Nightlights quest. It was really amazing to be able to get to do that with you. And now for Saruna. As I've said in previous videos, it has always been my biggest goal in this game to get a death song. Death songs had always been my favorite dragon, all the way from when they had been first introduced in Race to the Edge. I always thought they looked so amazing, and how they can be beautiful but also deadly. While it is a bit bittersweet that I'd only been able to get you under these circumstances, I am glad to finally have been able to get you after this long. And you're just amazing. Such an amazing dragon to have. I absolutely love your hidden world glow, and it's nice that I'd happen to have picked the exact right colors for you to make them match with your hidden world glow. Unlike with Trumpet. Trumpet kind of looks like vomit with chunks in it. But your colors, Saruna, they really are pretty in the hidden world, especially with the glow. Like, I feel like your hidden world glow really brings out your colors and makes them really pop out. And you're just such an amazing dragon, and I'm glad that I have this chance to fly with you now. Double in Trouble, you were my first dragon, and I'll always remember you for that. You were there to see all of the other dragons, including Euphoria, hatch and grow up, and you were always able to guide them in many ways to becoming the dragons that they are today. I will miss you a lot. You're one of the dragons that I'd spent the most time with, and one of the dragons that I'd really gotten to bond with the most. And even though it technically hadn't been that long, I'm glad that we'd been able to spend this time together. I remember when we came here for the first video, how we were running around doing all these quests, and you know, how we'd gone down here not quite knowing what there was, only knowing that we were supposed to shoot some eels somewhere and coming across the hidden world. Just as we're going to now. Not really the eels part, but going to the hidden world. I remember being so shocked to find this place by accident. Like, I'd known of its existence, but I hadn't really gotten to... I hadn't really gotten to explore this place before then. And I'm glad that I came across it when I did. It's a really beautiful place, and I absolutely love like how you look and how the other dragons look in this place. I love how vibrant like the blues and purples are on your body. They look really nice. I'd always loved your name. I was glad to learn that you could put spaces in a dragon's name, because I didn't think you'd be able to do that, like how you can't with most games. Well, like how you can with like a lot of games like this. It's truly a pleasure to have gotten to know you two, Double in Trouble. And last, but certainly not least, my sand wraith, Euphoria. This dragon is definitely the one that you guys probably know the best. She'd been my second dragon, and is the only... She'd been my second dragon ever, and is the only one that I really got to level up from baby to adult in my own time, and not have to rush it. I remember, I hadn't recorded this when it had happened, but I remember not being able to like wait until the next time I could record to record aging Euphoria up into an adult. And I remember when I first had aged her up, I had like spent just like a few minutes straight just flying Euphoria around the school just like this. I couldn't believe that I now had a dragon that was this fast, and I still love flying with you, Euphoria. It really is a pleasure to be able to fly on your back, just like I had many times before. You'd starred in most of my thumbnails for this game, and you had been with me for many of my adventures in this game. And I'm glad that I had been able to have you as a dragon. I'd always loved sand wraiths, even on my older account that I used to have. I think I'd mentioned it before, but I did have an older account that I used to play this game on, but I didn't get that far in the game because I didn't know how I could like progress really or get anything without having to pay money. So I kind of gave up on it. That's why, like, when I was first like restarting this game, I had decided to go on YouTube and search up all the beginner's tips that I could find, so that I couldn't so that wouldn't happen again, and so that I'd be able to get farther in this game, which I had. Those beginner's tips really were helpful, like fighting in battle events and doing quests to level up dragons and shooting eels and stuff to make them happier. It really was helpful to get me to where I am today in this game. I remember we'd fought so many battles together, just you and me. And you'd been my first and I think only dragon that I ever got gold rank with in a battle event. In fact, I'd fought so many battle events with you that it ended up maxing out your level. because battle events can reward dragon EXP. And that just goes to show how much time we've spent together with battle events and quests and dragon tactics. You have been there for so much of the journey, and I'm glad you have been there. I remember really wanting a sand wraith on my old account, but not quite knowing how to get one without paying gems. So I was really excited when I did get my secondary starter dragon, that I was able to choose what it was instead of having it being just like randomly given to me. So I was able to like choose to have you instead of any other dragon. And I'm really glad I did choose you. It really has been a treat to fly with you for all of these adventures. I'd always loved your hidden world glow. I always thought it looked really fiery, which was a nice contrast to your silverish blue coloring. Oh, here's somewhere that I remember. I think it was here. I believe it was here. This was where we'd taken the screenshot for episode 3's thumbnail. I remember we'd been around here, right in front of the fireworms. I think it was over here in the water. No, I don't think so. I think it was a bit farther back. Over here, maybe? Yeah, I think it was over here. Those were some fun times. I remember just coming across this place randomly while exploring the settings. This is where you can find the end credits. And I'd actually brought Euphoria here when she was just a baby. Do you remember Euphoria? It had been where the thumbnail for the second episode had been taken. I think you were laying right here, I think. It's not quite the same because now you just float off the ground a bit when you... It's not quite the same because you just float off the ground a bit when you are dismounted now here, but... You know, perhaps we can do that again. I always thought this place was so beautiful and peaceful. No background music, too. No background music, just quiet and waves with this beautiful sunset on this orange ocean, with just this little island that has the end credits. This area has like a coming soon thing, and it always has, back from when I'd first came across this place. I'm not quite sure like what it was meant to be, but there were like these gears here. So maybe it was some sort of like adventure or something like that. Sad that we'll never get to know what that is. Out of all of my dragons, Euphoria had always been the one that I'd managed to get closest to. And I know to many people you'll just be characters in a game, pixels on a screen, but to me, you and all the others were so much more. You are my dragons, and I'm hoping that maybe one day, oh, this is getting hard to say. I'm hoping that maybe one day, oh, come on. Come on, you gotta stay up for this. I'm hoping that maybe one day you and the others will find your way back to me, perhaps in a different game, in different forms. But even then, I feel like I'd know when I see you. There's hope to perhaps see you again one day. But for now, this is goodbye. We've fought so many battles together, had so many adventures, and I can't believe that I can't believe that this is going to be the end of our time together and that it's going to be cut short. But I know that it's been a good ride, even if it's been a shorter one than I was hoping. So that'll be the end of this video. I sure hope you enjoyed. And if you did enjoy, then please be sure to leave a like. And if you generally enjoy my content, then please consider subscribing. This is Owls Everywhere in School of Dragons, for the last time, signing off.